What's up everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. We talk a lot about competitive Pokemon on this channel, but today I wanted to cover something a little bit different. The upcoming Greninja 7-star raids. As somebody who plays competitive Pokemon, the game kind of lives rent-free in my head. I'm oftentimes sitting here thinking to myself, what's the best spread to deal with Fluttermane? What's the best set to deal with Garganacl? So I thought that I'd put my competitor brain to use and give you all some pointers on how to defeat this really powerful foe. I really like puzzles like this, so if this kind of content sounds like something you'd like to see more of, let me know in the comments below. So what can we expect from Greninja? Well, we know that it's going to be a Water Dark type with a Poison Terra type. That means that defensively, it's going to be treated as a pure poison type. But Pengy, I hear you say. It's Protean. It can change its type. They've told us that it's Protean. Well, yes, but also no. Basically, important for this raid and also for VGC is that terastallization takes priority over anything else that would change your type. Abilities like Protean, moves like Soak. None of that works if it's a terastallized Pokemon. So while you will have a very cool Protean Greninja after you beat the raid, in the raid, it basically doesn't have an ability, which is nice for us. Poison is a really sick typing for them to have given to the Greninja. It's the hardest type to deal with on a Greninja. It shows you that they're really giving a lot of care to making these 7-star raids as challenging as possible. And basically, it's a great defensive typing that only has 2 weaknesses. It has ground weakness, which is covered by Greninja's water typing, and a psychic weakness, which is covered by its dark typing. Something else that makes it a little bit difficult to prepare is that Greninja's attack and special attack stats are almost identical, making it a little bit difficult for us to know whether or not it's going to be a physical or a special attacker. My money is on it being a mixed attacker because Water Shuriken is too iconic of a move for them to not put on the Greninja, but also it only gets one offensive poison type move, which is Gunk Shot. So, one of those is special, one of those is physical, la-di-da-di-da, mixed attacker. On the dark side of things, it gets access to Dark Pulse, which is a really good special move, or Night Slash, which is a really good physical move. And then its 4th move is probably going to be something coverage-related, Grass Knot, Trailblaze. It gets a lot of different coverage moves, so this could be anything. I put Grass Knot in here because it's the most problematic for my strategies. We'll get into that in a second. So, I have 3 awesome Pokemon to suggest for your use into these Greninja raids. I think all 3 of these Pokemon are going to be amazing. I think they'll work super, super well on a team if you have a couple of friends as well. So, kicking things off, we're going to jump into a fan favorite from Gen 9, Mr. Clodsire himself. Clodsire is going to be operating as a bulky support Pokemon here. It has a great typing and ability combo for this raid. Poison Ground gives it a double resist to the poison type moves from Greninja's Terra typing, and then Water Absorb gives it an immunity to Greninja's natural water type stab. You're still hit neutrally by the dark type, but dark type is also the typing with the weakest attacks that Greninja has. Its strongest dark type move is only 80 base power, which is not quite Hydro Pump, so that's okay. As for the moveset, Clodsire is going to be running Amnesia to keep it alive for longer if necessary, but the big one's going to be Acid Spray. Acid Spray is a poison type move which lowers the opposing Pokemon's special defense by 2. This combos really, really well with any kind of special attacking presence you have, and then on top of that, you have Recover to keep yourself healthy, and Earthquake to dish out just a little bit of damage every now and then. Realistically, Clodsire is not going to be doing any big damage with these attack stats, but sometimes a little bit of extra damage is all that matters. I really like running Recover on your bulky Pokemon in raids purely because you are limited on your cheers, so while you might be thinking, oh, but I can heal my Pokemon with cheers, and that'll also heal my allies' Pokemon. Yes, but you're limited on the number that you can use, and it's probably better to put those into attack or defense boosts instead. Something with a little bit more staying power. The item on the Clodsire is Soft Sand, just to have a little bit more damage at the Earthquake. You might be thinking, but, why not Leftovers? That's the best item for a bulky Pokemon that's going to stay around. Yes, but Terra raids are on a timer, so I always find it a little bit weird when you're having an animation proc at the end of every single turn just to heal up a tiny bit of HP. So honestly, the Soft Sand is just there so you don't have to watch any extra animations, because timer can be a bit of an issue in these raids sometimes. The spread that I'm recommending here is as follows. You're going to want max defense just to shore up this pretty weak base stat. A special defensive boosting nature is nice just because it's the highest stat, so you get the most out of having that nature, and then a little bit of HP boosting. And the reason why I'm going like all in into the defenses here is that Clodsire is so weak that you're really not going to be doing that much damage anyway, even if you invest a bunch into attack. It's just better to have that bulk for this Pokemon. So this is my Clodsire. I think that he's going to be a very, very nice Pokemon, especially if he is supporting the next Pokemon, a VGC favorite, Gastrodon. Defensively, this Pokemon is very similar to the Clodsire. The ground typing gives you a resistance to the poison type, and its ability Storm Drain functions very similarly to Water Absorb, where it gives you an immunity to the water type moves. So again, you're neutrally going to be hit by the dark type moves, but you're going to be good into the other two types that Greninja has to offer. As opposed to being a bulky support Pokemon, though, the Gastrodon is going to be a bulky offensive Pokemon. You have the Soft Sand once again for a slightly stronger ground-type move in Earth Power. Earth Power is a 90 base power move, and the Gastrodon has a significantly higher offensive pressure potential than the Clodsire. So we're going to be pumping all of these EVs into special attack with a quiet nature or modest, basically any special attacking nature. Gonna be good here, just to dish out as much damage as possible. On the defensive side of things, we're going to be focusing a little bit more on defense and HP, because we have Amnesia to shore up the special defense should that be necessary. Recover is similar to the Clodsire. Again, it's really just to keep you alive and not expend your cheers. And then Chilling Water is kind of the fourth move that you can make into a bunch of other stuff. It doesn't have to be Chilling Water. Chilling Water is really nice if the Greninja is only physical, but you can also make this like Mud Slap or something else. You really shouldn't be clicking this move very much, so it can kind of be whatever you want it to be. Now, the special attacking Earth Power, when comboed with Clodsire's Acid Spray, is going to start dishing out a crazy amount of damage. The biggest weakness that Greninja has is it doesn't have great defensive stats. 72 HP, 67 defense, 71 special defense. That's going to dish out a lot of damage. So Clodsire Gastrodon should be an incredible combo into this. But what if you don't have anybody to do these raids with? These two Pokemon can be a little bit risky to bring into online lobbies by yourself, which can be hit or miss anyway. You don't want to roll up with a Gastrodon like this and just kind of hope that somebody has Acid Spray to support it. You also don't want to roll up with a fully supportive Clodsire and just end up in a lobby where there's nothing for the Clodsire to support. What if I told you that I have the perfect self-sufficient Pokemon that you can bring into battles with your friends or by yourself onto the Wi-Fi Terra raid scene and just do crazy stuff with? Ladies and gentlemen, it is the ultimate Greninja counter, Toxicroak. Now, Toxicroak is incredible for this specific raid. Defensively, it has even better attributes than the other two Pokemon. The Poison type resists the Poison type attacks, Fighting type resists the Dark type attacks, and then once again, we have an ability that grants an immunity to water with Dry Skin. Dry Skin functions very similarly to Clodsire's Water Absorb, where if you get hit by a move that's the Water type, you're going to get healed instead of damaged. The downside with Dry Skin is that you take extra damage from Fire type moves, but guess what? Greninja doesn't get Fire type attacks, so it's no downside at all. Even though Toxicroak doesn't have amazing defensive stats, with these defensive typing attributes, it has a lot of staying power against this Greninja. It's really going to be your big ticket Pokemon for huge damage in this fight. You have two moves, that's really all you need on the offensive side. Swords Dance to boost up your attack to the sky, and Earthquake to fire off very powerful super effective hits into the Greninja. If you want to be super offensive, you can also change the Toxicroak's Terra type to Ground to be able to do even more with the Earthquake. This is still going to give you pretty good defensive utility as you still resist poison and you still have an immunity to water. You're just going to be neutrally hit by those dark type moves instead of resisting them. I've given this Toxicroak a Chesto Berry and the move Rest to give it just a little bit more staying power without losing too much ground. Rest is going to be able to heal it up to full, and then when it goes to sleep, the Chesto Berry will wake it up. The downside is that this is only going to work once, but the upside is that you're not going to have to worry about your allies clicking the heal cheer at just the right time. Again, this Pokemon is just designed to be as self-sufficient as possible for you. I've also given it Protect because it really doesn't need more than just Earthquake and Swords Dance. Protect is going to be super, super good if you're in a lobby with friends, which I highly recommend still bringing this Toxicroak to, because you can Protect to buy a little bit of time for your allies to use a heal cheer or something if you really, really need it on this Toxicroak. On the EV side of things, Toxicroak is way slower than Greninja, so you don't need to waste any EVs into speed. We're going to run an Adamant Nature here, going up to 188. This is basically just the bump. For those of you who are not aware, every now and then an EV will give you 2 points instead of 1. Slight optimizations there. And then the rest is just going to go into general bulk. HP is preferred over defense and special defense just because we don't know if it's going to be physical or special. But if it turns out to be all physical or all special, you can go ahead and invest these in defense or special defense instead. But for general all-around purposes, before we know the answer to that question, I think that this is probably the spread to use. This gives Toxicroak a decent amount of bulk, especially with those resistances. It should live a few hits from the Greninja, giving it time to set up with Swords Dance and fire off a couple of Earthquakes very, very effectively. So that's my guide on how to beat the 7-star Greninja raids. If you end up using any of these 3 Pokemon, please let me know. I really want to know how it goes. I'm definitely going to be trying out the Toxicroak personally because it's a really cool Pokemon that I've honestly never used before, so I'm just super excited to have an opportunity to use it into these Greninja raids this weekend. If you guys enjoyed this content, please let me know. Drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more. I do a lot of competitive Pokemon stuff, but if you guys like this, I definitely want to do a little bit more raid coverage as well. The Toxicroak raids will be coming back in 2 weeks, so maybe I could do another video once we know what the moveset was with a definitive set for how to deal with it come the middle of February. You know, well, something like that. We'll see. I hope everybody has a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. I wish you the best of luck on the battlefield against the 7-star Greninjas, and I'll see you guys next time.